Hello, welcome to the Elone Show. I'm your host, John Elone. In this episode, don't have regulars, because reasons, I guess. As for our guest, he's from Leicester in the United Kingdom. He is a coach and an author. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Jeevan Montaru.
Thank you very much for having me on, Peter. It's a pleasure.
It sure is. So, how's life?
I mean, it's can't complain. As with anything, it could be better, could be worse, and you've got to be grateful for where you are. A lot of the things that you have today, you were grateful for, or you would have wished for 5 years ago. So that's the way I look at things.
Nice, very good. And are you up to anything recently?
So at the minute, I'm just doing the normal bits really. So continuing to write books. I've finished book 2. Currently writing book 3. Still running the business. Still training for a big competition in judo next weekend. So yeah, just continuing my routines. Continuing to pedal on the bike of life. Let's say if that's an answer.
Yeah, sounds great. So, what inspired you to become a coach and/or author?
So I'll start with the coach first of all, and then we'll probably come on to the books afterwards. So I was pretty smart in school. I'm in top 2% of IQ. I'm a member of Mensa. But what transpired in school is that I was very naughty. For want of a better phrase, was expelled from school for various bits of poor behaviour. What I came to realise is that actually it's not necessarily just about your IQ. It's about other softer skills that determine your trajectory. So I started doing a lot of research and reading and understanding exactly what sort of questions you need to be asking yourself, what sort of mentality and mindset you need in order to be your best self, essentially. And because of my underperformance when I was younger, I wanted to help people to reach their performance levels. And that's the reason I became a coach. And really, off the back of that as well, um, authoring and the books are pretty much in line with that as well. I mean, the first book is a self help book. The second book is a guided daily journal where you answer a number of questions about yourself. And the third book is talking about philosophical quotes. So again, give you good perspective on life. So I think that's really where it all stems from. A personal experience that I can help to rectify in others, let's say.
Nice, very good. So, what is your favorite quote?
It's probably one from Marcus Aurelius regarding being like the rock in the middle of the ocean, being unmoved by the waves crashing against you, essentially. And again, that's probably not word for word, but it's along those lines. So in life, you need to be like that rock that is unaffected by those things going on around you. Yes, you might have lost your job. Yes, you might have split up with your girlfriend or boyfriend. Yes, you might be going through financial difficulties. Yes, life might not be going as well as expected. Yes, you're stuck in traffic, but it doesn't mean to say that you're going to let your emotions get affected by those things negatively, of course, because at the end of the day, if everything affects your mindset negatively, you're going to have a very horrible life in the end. So I think that's one that really stands very firm with me. There are obviously many others as well, but that's just the one that came to mind when you asked.
Ah, very nice. So, where do you see yourself 20 years from now?
I think 20 years is quite a long time frame. So my view on planning for the future is you set a long term goal or an ideal situation, but things come in the way, don't they? That maybe change your perspective. So at this point, that was just a caveat, of course. At this point, it would be to have a family, continue with what I'm doing in terms of writing books, maybe write a fiction book as well, continue with the judo side, maybe have my own club, travel a bit more, and yeah, just continue to provide value to the world. And as I said, if someone asked me 20 years ago, where would I be now? It'd probably be nowhere near where I am now. Whether that's good, bad, or indifferent doesn't really matter. Just completely different to where I thought I was going to be. Because at the end of the day, you're very different to where you were even last year. The events you've been through, the things that you've read, the experiences you've had, change where you want to move, moving forward. So yeah, it's a difficult question to answer, but that's probably where I would say at this point, based on where I am currently.
All right, I like that. How many books have you released or in the process of writing so far?
So one's been on sale for about 3 years now. That's doing really well. The second book is finished and that's ready to be published. And that's about, as I said, it's like a daily journal. So let's say the first question would be, where do I want to be in 3 to 5 years? You answer that question, you've got a blank piece of paper. There's then some input from me saying, well, have you thought about career? Have you thought about finances? Have you thought about location? Have you thought about X, Y, and Z? And then they re-answer the question to see if there's any discrepancies. The reason I've done it in that format is because actually, when you give, if I'd have asked the question and then given feedback straight away or things to think about, it would alter your question, your answer, and that's just human nature. So I decided to do it in two parts. And that book's finished, as I said, and the third one is about quotes. So at the moment, it's three. One's out on sale, two aren't. But as I said, second's finished, third's pretty much there as well. And then envision writing a few more. Not sure what they will be as yet, but I do want to try and get a fiction one in there as well somewhere. But what I've started to realise is that writing fiction is a lot harder than writing non-fiction, I would say.
Ah, yes, of course. What was life for you growing up?
Pretty good. Come from a fairly well-off family. No sort of domestic issues, let's say. So yeah, pretty good, really good parents, good family. So yeah, I think for me it was just about the behavior side of things really that was the key issue for me. But obviously sometimes you need to go through the bad stuff to get to the good stuff, and that's essentially what's happened.
Mm, yes, of course. If someone wrote a book about you, what do you think its title would be?
Tragedy to triumph or something like that.
Yeah, I can see that. How did you spend your last birthday?
Oh, my last birthday. I don't even remember, to be honest. That just. Oh, actually. Oh, I know what I did. I went hiking in Wales. So Wales, for those who don't know, is a country that makes up the UK. So you have England, Scotland, Wales, and then Northern Ireland as well. And Wales has a mountainous range called Snowdonia. So yeah, I went there for my birthday. Got into the mountains, went climbing, and yeah, that was that was great fun.
Hmm, nice. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
It's a difficult one. For me, I've looked at all of the Numbios online and things like that, and yeah, the problem is not about where you would prefer to live. It's about what everything is going on with your life. Like if you've got your own business very local to where you live, you need to stay there. If you've got family around, again, that's a key consideration. So at the moment, the UK is fine. Whether I will live here forever is yet to be seen. In terms of areas I do like Europe the best. Outside of Europe, yeah, there are some nice places, but I wouldn't, again, at this point, see myself living outside of Europe. So that's probably the best answer I can give you at this point. Not got any visions to move as yet, but as I said, I do like, especially within Europe, the Scandinavian countries, Eastern Europe, even the Mediterranean countries are fantastic. So yeah, maybe one of those.
Yeah, sounds great. Have you met anyone famous?
Um, yeah, I've met some football players, like when I was younger and stuff. But not someone really I've sat down with and had a proper conversation with, I would say. And again, it depends on what you mean by, define your level of fame, essentially. So yeah, I wouldn't say that I've had huge sort of outlays with famous people, but I'm probably on the side of not really caring too much about famous people in some respects as well. So maybe it's a bit of both.
Fair enough. If you were hosting a dinner party and you can invite 5 guests who are either dead or alive, who would you invite?
Oh, okay. So I'd go Marcus Aurelius, Alan Watts. I'd probably go. Ooh, who would I go? Um, Probably go someone like Socrates as well. Diogenes. I'd have a right mix up. I'd probably have all of the philosophers, to be honest with you, and maybe a pretty girl as well, just to keep us company.
Hmm, nice. Very good. What's the most useless talent you have?
The useless talent. I don't know if if there really is any useless talents. Um, I don't know, I used to be able to put my earlobes inside my ear when I was younger, but I can't do that anymore. Maybe that.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. What's a common misconception people have about you?
I don't know. Like, depends on again. Everyone's perception is different, isn't it? Because some people
Hmm.
might think I'm that shallow because I do like to make a laugh and a joke, have a few beers. But obviously, on the flip side, you need to have a yin and yang, don't you? You need to be able to enjoy yourself, but also you need to be able to work hard and create value. So I'd probably say, yeah, there's a lot more under the surface than people realise. Maybe think of an iceberg.
Hmm. Yes, absolutely. Would you rather sleep on the wall or sleep on the ceiling?
Assuming gravity was no issue.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, on the ceiling, I would say. Just to
Yes.
see it from the bird's eye view, let's say.
Yes. I'd say the same. Would you rather speak all languages or talk to animals?
Talk to animals, definitely, because I think you would gain more from being able to speak to all animals than you would being able to speak to all humans.
Yeah, I can see that. Where is the most relaxing place you've been?
Probably on top of a mountain somewhere. That's for me the most relaxing. If the weather's good, there's not too much wind. That's the most peaceful place you'll find really. Yes, the beaches and stuff are nice, and yeah, you could say your own bed is peaceful, I suppose. But yeah, top of the mountain for me.
Fabulous. What is the best pair of shoes you have ever owned?
Best pair of shoes I've ever owned. Probably a pair of football boots. Hundred odd pounds. That would probably be it because I think yeah, trainers. Trainers are fine. Suits. Obviously you wear dinner shoes are fine as well. But in terms of excitement and yeah, shoes that probably were the most important were probably a pair of football boots. That yeah, as I said, when I was a bit younger in the hundreds.
Yes, of course. What could you give a 40-minute presentation on without any preparation?
I could probably do two things. I think. Well, more than two things, of course, but two that spring to mind. One is philosophy and trying to think in a certain way to get answers. And the second would be judo because I do that 4 or 5 times a week at the moment. Not saying that I'm amazing at it, but it's something that I because anything that you do quite often, it's at the forefront of your mind and it's very accessible as information. So without any planning required, was your question. So anything you're working on currently is generally that which you're going to be able to recall upon as fast as possible. If someone was to ask you, what did you do in GCSE maths? And for those, again, who are listening, that's um, exams you do at 11 and 12 years old, um, 13 years old, 14 years old, around there. Think about the exams you were doing then. You can't remember anything to do with that now, even though that was deemed as quote unquote easy. Yeah, it's all about proximity to information. So yeah, they would be my two.
Yes, I can see that. When things break, do you prefer to fix them or replace them?
Depends on what they are, and depends how they're broken. I think the ideal situation is to try and fix things, because if you have a car, for example, and a very small thing, let's say your tire breaks or bursts, you're not going to just replace the whole car. So I think it depends on a lot of variables as to affordability. What's the cost to repair versus replace? What's the length of life left in the particular item? So yeah, the answer to that is both, just depending on exactly what it is.
Yeah, I can see that. And of course, there's like the severity of the damage. If it's so bad it's beyond repair, of course you would replace that.
Yeah, I mean that's why insurance companies offer what's called a write-off. If you crash your car so bad, they don't want to repair it. They just give you the money for the car and get a new one, because the cost of repair and labour, etc., is just as much as the car. And actually, it it saves a lot of time and effort just giving you the money to buy a new one. It's safer as well. So yeah, as I said, I think there's a lot of variables as to repair or replace. Yeah, relationships, your house, for example, roof. There's loads of things. So I think, yeah, case by case for that, definitely.
Fantastic. What improved your life quality so much you wish you did it sooner?
Spending more time alone. That's a massive one. I think people spend too much time under the influence of others. So habits dictate where you're going to get. If you change your um, Big Brother TV program for something a bit more educational or important, you'll see a massive change. Again, if you change your company from people who just want to mess around, hedonists, to either people who are very intelligent and driven or spending more time alone, that's something that you'll see huge changes in your life with.
Okay. What food is underrated or underappreciated?
Um, just a typical pasta, I'd say. Yeah, just a normal pasta. People talk about pizzas and um, you know chicken and lamb and beef and stuff, which is fine. But yeah, just a good pasta is definitely underrated for me, underappreciated.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there an app that you hate using, but you still use it anyway?
Facebook, Instagram,
Ah, yes.
both of those definitely.
Of course.
I mean, look, again with the yin and yang, with everything, there is always a positive and there's always a negative of using them. The positive is that you get to keep in touch with people, you get to see people, see how people are doing without even really speaking to them. You get to learn about news articles, and you get to learn from other people who've got speeches and stuff. That's the positive, but there are a lot of negatives as well. The endless scrolling, the distractions, the nihilism, not nihilism, sorry, the basically a narcissistic behavior that people have on there as well. So yeah, that they're probably the negatives that yeah are what my answer is based on.
Yes, absolutely. Would you ever try space tourism?
It depends to where. I wouldn't mind going out into the atmosphere to see the Earth. But again, it's a loaded question, because it would depend on the safety. It would depend on who's done it first. Um, yeah, the costs involved, all of those fundamental questions. But yeah, I would be open to it if all of the variables are basically all of the tangible variables within that I was happy with. I would be open to it. Yeah.
Yes, of course. If you had a song for every time you entered the room, what song would that be?
It'd probably be some sort of like war music. Like in films where they've got that sort of war music that gets you ready to, there's a battle coming. It'd probably be something like that, because I think that would put you in a really good, strong mental state. You're walking into a room and you hear that music, you're gonna just want to just boss it. You're gonna want to do really, really well. So yeah, that would be something that I would incorporate, definitely.
Hmm. Yes, of course. Are you a cat person or a dog person?
Dog, definitely. I've got two dogs and a cat, but yeah, dog person, 100%. I've got two boxers, so yeah, definitely a dog.
Nice. If you could travel back in time, what decade would you want to live in?
The 80s or the 90s. I was born in the 90s, but obviously, um, sorry, I was born in the 80s actually, but 89. So I wasn't really, I didn't really enjoy the 90s full, um, in its full vein because obviously I was young to go out and stuff. So yeah, I'm probably born in the 80s, early 80s, and enjoy the 90s to its full potential.
Yeah, of course. Have you ever thought about living off the grid?
I mean, I would lie if I said I did. I hadn't. I think everyone does at some point think about that. Selling everything and going living somewhere. I think the problem with doing that in today's day and age is, even if you want to live off grid, you still need to have purchased some sort of land or um, you need something to be able to uh, basically sustain yourself on. So yeah, even then it's very difficult to get off grid without being in the grid, at least for a short time. So yeah, it's very difficult now to do that. But yeah, I've definitely thought about it. Even if let's say you were to buy a camper van and live in that, you're still on grid really because you still need to pay certain taxes and you still need to get fuel, etc. And that's taxed. So yeah, I think it's almost impossible now to be completely off grid. But yeah, it's something that I think everyone thinks about.
Yes, of course. Do you like spicy food?
Yeah, I mean, I'm Asian, so yeah, I enjoy spicy food. I probably don't like it as spicy as I used to, but yeah, I have chili sauce and chilies with pretty much everything.
Mm, yes, fabulous. What is your favorite holiday tradition?
Beer at the airport, regardless of time. So
Ah,
even if you get there at 3 in the morning, ready to fly, have a beer at the airport. Even if you get there at 9 p.m., yeah, beer at the airport. So yeah, that's definitely a tradition that I'm going to continue to do, as long as I'm drinking.
all right, very good. What's the best way to travel?
Again, depends really where you traveling to. I do like a car, but obviously if you're going abroad, it's got to be an aeroplane. So they're my favourite too. I'm not really that keen on trains really, although the underground is great and yeah, high speed trains are great. I'm not really that keen on boats either. So yeah, car and plane for me. That's the ultimate combo.
Fabulous. If you can get an exotic pet, what would it be?
Tiger, but whether you can actually train and own one is a different story. But yeah, a tiger definitely. I've always liked tigers and my tiger since I was young. So yeah, definitely a tiger.
Fabulous.
Which goes against what I said earlier, though, didn't it? Isn't it about cats and dogs? But I'd class that as a different cat, different type of cat.
Oh, yeah, yeah, of course. What's your favorite ice cream topping?
Oh, hundreds and thousands maybe.
Hmm, okay.
Can't go wrong with a bit of hundreds and thousands. The multicolored sprinkles.
Yes,
They're uh,
absolutely.
they're always good, regardless of the taste of the ice cream or the flavour. Yeah, they always add a bit of flavour.
Oh, yes, absolutely. If you could see one movie again for the first time, what would it be?
Oh, Shawshank Redemption.
Yes.
I think anything with a twist in it is good to watch again for the first time. Because it gives you that whole sense of the film again. With obviously the excitement at the end as well.
Oh, yes, indeed. What was the most overhyped place you traveled to?
Paris.
Of course. Has to be Paris.
It's definitely Paris, isn't it? Yeah, I think for a lot of people,
Yeah.
Paris is overhyped. But yeah, I mean, it was great. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I think with anything, the more things are hyped up, the worse it seems in comparison. And that's why sometimes if you go somewhere and you're not expecting anything, it's fantastic because you've literally not expected anything. So yeah, I would say Paris for me.
Yep. I'd say the same. Couldn't agree more.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. What is the one thing you can't live without?
Despite the obvious stupid answer of oxygen. Yeah. Um, Stuff to listen to. I think I'm a massive listener. Yeah, I do read as well. Don't get me wrong, but I love listening to music, listening to speeches and philosophical ideas and stuff like that. So yeah, just I know it's quite generic, but things to listen to, is yeah huge for me really.
Yes, absolutely. What takes a lot of time to master, but it's definitely worth it?
I think everything's difficult at first. You know, riding your bike, you know, you fell off. But yeah, I would probably say two things. One is a soft skill. One is the hobby that I do. So the soft skill would be discipline. I think discipline is very, very hard to master, but it's well worth it in the end. And then obviously judo as well. That takes years to master, but definitely worthwhile because it's a fantastic sport.
Nice. What was the last time you worked incredibly hard?
In what sense?
In any capacity, physically, mentally, intellectually, any shape and form.
Where I was hard.
Yes, worked hard in
I
any
worked
sense.
hard. Worked hard. Okay, yeah. So yeah, probably writing the books to be honest, because I think it takes a certain level of discipline to continue to keep writing page after page, um, with sometimes with no end in sight. So yeah, I would definitely say writing the book.
Fabulous. If you could erase one past experience, what would it be?
I wouldn't erase any past experiences. I know it's quite a philosophical answer, but at the end of the day, that's those events have made me what I am, and they've given me the lessons I needed to learn. So yeah, I wouldn't change anything.
Yes, fair enough. What is your favorite season?
Oh, I had this discussion the other day. I think spring is probably my favorite because that's the birth of everything. It's warm. It's like summer. It's actually drier a lot of the time as well, and you've got the blossom on the trees. So yeah, probably spring. But they've all got their merits, haven't they?
Yes, and spring has the right temperature.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Spring's beautiful.
it sure is. Is there a song that most people don't seem to like, but you enjoy it very, very much?
A song that people don't like, but I enjoy.
Yeah,
Mm, not sure there is one because it depends on again who you're talking to. Because I like a lot of classical music now that I didn't used to when I was younger. And if you spoke to the average Joe, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, terrible music." But actually, I went to a couple of concerts recently. Hans Zimmer. I don't know if you're familiar with Hans Zimmer. He did the Gladiator music, etc. And it was packed out. And the same with Ludovico in Audi. It was packed out concert as well. So yeah, I'd probably say some classical pieces, but again, in the right space, they're appreciated as well.
yeah, absolutely. And that is all we have for this episode. It's great having you on, Jeevan, talking about your work as a coach, an author, and all thing philosophy and everything else. It's been great.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Peter, for having me on, and thanks for the great questions.
You're welcome. And until next time, stay tuned for more.